My billionaire husband keeps having affairs with numerous women. I am finally giving him a divorce, but he isn't letting me go. At the party, he gave me the actual reason, which left me shocked.
I have an appointment with my husband.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Scott. He's in the middle of something. Ed asked me to come down and...
Breaking news! Ronald Scott and Emily Taylor spotted at the Bellagio. Is he again cheating on his wife? They look so cute together. Netizens are going crazy. Next up on the show...
Kate is instantly distracted by two familiar faces appearing on the TV screen. As always, the gossip channels knew more about her billionaire husband than she did.
Is there anything else I can help you with, Mrs. Scott? Mr. Scott has another appointment in the afternoon with...
I don't need to know his schedule anymore.
Kate had always felt like a fool, aware that her marriage was not born out of love, but mere convenience. She had everything that could make a girl jealous. A wardrobe with the latest runway pieces, luxurious cars, a mansion with dozens of staff at her beck and call, and a billionaire husband. All this despite being an ordinary-looking woman. But what about love? Ronald consistently made her feel unwanted. In 4 years of her marriage, he had ignored her, engaged in infidelity with different women, and kept his life exceptionally private. Moreover, he had consistently kept her hidden and disconnected from the outside world, like a bird in a golden cage. Despite all that, she could never make up her mind to leave him. Something connected them together, but this time her decision was unwavering.
Please pass this on to Mr. Scott. I've signed the papers. I can go to the registry for the divorce anytime at his convenience.
For the first time since her marriage, Kate felt a sense of liberation, as if a burden had been lifted from her shoulders. But little did she know, she had bigger surprises waiting for her. Ronald Scott was one of the city's most powerful and brilliant figures, a genius who loved exerting control, whether over his companies or his household. No one had ever dared to say no to him, but today was different.
My wife has beautiful handwriting. Divorce.
Looks like it.
Are you saying I was dumped? Have I not given her enough to spend?
$3 million every month transferred to her account on time, sir.
And have I not given her enough to wear?
Mrs. Scott receives the latest couture from Paris, no later than 3 days from its initial release.
And what about her life? Have I not given her a good life thing?
7 maids, 1 mansion, a personal chauffeur, and a position at Scott's bank. She is the head of the branch.
Well then, tell me, Sam. Why the divorce?
Men, right? They think we stay with them for the luxuries they provide us. What about love, care, and warmth? Ronald couldn't believe that Kate had the audacity to serve him with divorce papers. He perceived her as weak, afraid, and gullible, always saying yes to everything he said. Seeing these papers gave rise to an unfamiliar feeling in him. Was it anger, disappointment, or something else? He couldn't quite put a finger on it. Nonetheless, he was infuriated.
Miss Peters, please get my jacket from the car. Thank you. Cut to the chase. What sort of games are you playing?
Kate hadn't expected such a strong reaction from her husband, because she never knew that while there were rumors surrounding Ronald's fidelity, he had not actually cheated on Kate. This being said, he had also never shown any significant appreciation for her. He had been an enigma for his wife, and this gave him a sense of control.
You're overthinking.
I'm overthinking. You're on touring with me, are you? Reverse psychology, maybe?
If suggesting a divorce embarrasses you so much, then file the papers instead.
Seriously, you really want to divorce me?
Was he so enraged just because his ego was bruised? Or had he gotten used to having her around? He was driven by a mix of anger and possessiveness. Kate, however, had reached her limit and retaliated with a resounding slap. This only intensified Ronald's possessiveness towards Kate when his phone rang. Perfect timing. It was Emily.
Hey, Ronnie, I'm just getting a little bit nervous about this event tomorrow night.
Kate froze in disbelief. This man was making plans with his mistress while forcing himself on his wife. He was crazy.
You'll be fine. Sam and I'll pick you up. You'll be okay.
Let go of me. Let go of me!
Is Miss Scott there?
Look, why don't you just invite her tomorrow night?
You know, people keep seeing us together, they're gonna think we're getting married.
No, you're right. I really bring Mrs. Scott out. I'll let Sam pick you up tomorrow. You get a good night's sleep.
Emily was left shocked when Ronald agreed to bring his wife to the event. She had only said those things to humiliate Kate.
Are you serious? He literally just said he's gonna bring her. He just said he's gonna bring that crazy woman to that event tomorrow night.
You always moan, and I never take you to these types of events. And now I'm suggesting it.
I didn't want to disturb Mr. Scott and Miss Taylor.
Well, Mrs. Scott seems to be so concerned about the rumors of an affair.
The next morning was like a bad hangover for Kate. The events of last night came to her in bits and pieces, but she very well knew what had happened. Ronald was satisfied with his win from last night and was focused on his work when Kate walked down, her face marred by a veil of shame.
Mr. Pym, please throw out her wardrobe. I'm going to take her to get something suitable for tonight.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Kim, you shall not touch my clothes.
Ronald didn't realize this, but last night meant
Thank
nothing
you.
to Kate. Even though she was deeply affected, she didn't let it weaken her resolve. If Ronald wanted to parade
go.
her around for shopping, then so be it.
all right.
But nothing was going to move her from her decision. They arrived at the city's most expensive designer outlet as a happily married couple. However, it was evident from the rampant gossip swirling around that everyone recognized the truth behind their facade.
That's Mrs. Scott. No wonder he's having an affair. Poor Mr. Scott. Yeah, you would imagine his wife to be more beautiful. Why is this girl? You're right, she's so plain compared to our Snow White Miss Emily. But don't underestimate her. She might have had some skills to seduce Mr. Scott. But yeah, she would better do it, right? Mr. Scott.
Excuse me, do you have this in my size?
Oh, this one. Sorry, ma'am. This dress has exclusively arrived for a very special client.
Well, surely you must have more of them.
Like she said, there is only one. It's delivered on a special order. Oh, Mr. Danielle, how are you doing? You came at the right time, Miss Taylor.
Kate couldn't believe her eyes. It was Emily.
This dress arrived just this morning. Here it is. Somebody even laid their hands on it when I had to tell them off.
Thanks.
Aren't you Miss Carter? Or are you looking for something to wear to the event tonight? You know, the one I told Ronnie to bring you to? You know, it's funny, we keep going for the same things. And yet somehow they always end up with me. But of course I'm talking about the dress. You know, if you like, we could, swap it for something of yours, Miss Carter.
Oh, you're talking about my husband. How obscure. You know what? Sure, you can have it. He's rejected goods now anyway.
What are you talking about?
I'm divorcing him. And with me out the way, let's see if he'll marry you now.
Emily's shock at Kate's words was evident. She knew Ronald had no intentions of marrying her. Kate's statement stung Emily, igniting a fire of anger within her.
You cheap.
Your Ronnie is standing right behind you.
In a moment of clever manipulation, Kate orchestrated Emily into slapping herself and felt extremely satisfied for once.
Oh, I'm sorry. Must be somebody who looks like Ronald.
You're despicable, Kate.
Is that all you have? I hope you are talking as Mrs. Scott the next time you try to confront me. Otherwise, you're just a homewrecker.
It was then that both women caught sight of Ronald well within earshot. Kate's eyes blazed with determination as Emily sought solace from him.
Oh, honey, she literally just hit me for no reason.
Kate?
So what if I slapped her?
This was the same woman who once obeyed Ronald without question, never daring to speak up. What had changed? Would she have been different had Ronald trusted her when she was accused of pushing Emily into the river? But this was a different Kate.
Oh, look. Mrs. Scott's finally learned to be honest. I am so very proud.
It also looks like Mr. Scott has learned his patience, as he's not jumping to defend Emily immediately. I am proud of you two.
Kate refused to yield this time, her determination unshakable, unlike 2 years ago when she was publicly accused.
You called her a homewrecker. Now you have to believe I'm yours, and only yours. This silly divorce business that can be put out of our minds. All right? If you accept what I said, then you have to apologize for hitting her. If not, you can skip the apology.
Ronald still believed Kate would bow to him and come to her senses, but she had other plans. She decided to apologize, but nobody knew what was going on in her mind.
I am sorry, Miss Taylor. I didn't mean to.
Inner beauty. It's a good thing, Kate. Don't lose it.
Thank you for the reminder. Dignity is also a good thing, Ronald. Don't lose it either.
Emily observed the two anxiously. She didn't want to stay here any longer. The current Kate was different from the one who constantly bowed to Ronald in the past.
Howdy. Let's go, we're gonna be late.
One sec.
Can you send the dress to the house, please?
Look, here's the deal. If you attend the cocktail party tonight and don't cause me any problems, I promise you, I'll sign the divorce papers.
Ronald had sensed that Kate was going to back off, so he put forward this condition. He knew that once Kate accepted his condition, he would find any way to manipulate her. Kate, on the other hand, recognized this as her sole opportunity for freedom, one she couldn't afford to lose. She resolved to find a way to attend the party, to win this gamble and start a new life.
Sam, were you supposed to follow us?
My apologies, Mr. Scott.
Emily, on the way home, wept endlessly, playing a victim to gain Ronald's sympathy. That evening, the elite of the business world gathered at the grand party, celebrating a significant deal between tycoon Mr. Gavin Burker and Scott Enterprises. Ronald purposefully didn't tell Kate where and when the event was, making things harder for her. But she was determined and managed to find out all the details anyway. Despite the heartache of seeing her husband with his mistress, she steeled herself, refusing to let her emotions interfere. Unaware that the event was invite-only, Kate's restlessness grew as she found herself unable to enter. Then a familiar figure caught her eye. It was Jake Collins.
Hey, Mr. Collins. Hi, I'm an employee of Scott Enterprise. Look, there's a matter for which I really need to contact Mr. Burker's secretary, but my phone's flat, so there's no way for me to contact them. Can you please let me inside?
Jake agreed to accompany her inside.
Come inside with me.
It would be fine as long as she could safely hide until the end of the event, which meant that she would have accomplished her end of the bargain between them. She could then get a divorce.
Today is my last day at the hotel. I have just signed the last business deal for this hotel. I would like to thank Mr. Scott for giving me the opportunity.
It's thanks to you we had an opportunity to make a profit, Mr. Burger.
Mr. Scott, You deserve all the opportunity on me. Tonight, I'd like to tell you all a story. Please turn on the projector.
I'm so sorry, Mr. Burke, I got caught up with something. Kirish's own contract.
Oh, please don't be sorry. This hotel's closing down. We are the ones who need a favor.
Well, here is your offer letter from the bank.
Mr. Scott's bank is offering me a loan. What happens if we run out of money?
Well, we had to have a week to review your application. We had to assess the hotel's reputation and performance. I'm so sorry I wasn't here earlier. I had to go back to Houston for my husband's birthday, but I'm here now and here you go.
So I've got my hotel. Well, thank you.
Nice working with
It
you.
was wonderful working with you too.
Not a problem, Mr. Burke.
Well, that's great.
Good luck with everything, okay?
Well, I thank you too. That girl saved my hotel. Mr. Scott, you probably don't remember that girl. She was one of your many employees.
Ronald realized Mr. Burker's words were a direct taunt towards him. He had forgotten Kate in this marriage. Kate was not invited to the party in the first place. Then how did she become the center of attention? Ronald was confused. Was this all a setup by Kate and Mr. Burker? What will happen of Kate and Ronald's relationship now?